So look, if you want to grow your wealth, your income, and increase the amount of time off, then these are the shortcuts that can help. Welcome to the Wealth Creation Podcast. Good morning, everybody. It's Dan Latto speaking. We are beyond late. We're like an hour and 12 minutes late. It's 9:10 on Thursday morning. We are now officially in Easter holiday week here in Spain. So for the next 11 days, no school for Mrs. and the little one. So we've got to fit these podcasts in as and where we can. But in today's podcast, I wanted to talk to you about the biggest opportunity that you're going to get this year. Like, I know they're big and bold words, and you might be going, but Dan, you don't understand my investment style, and it's got nothing to do with investing. Good morning, Philip. Hope you're well. Thank you for joining. This has got nothing to do with investing. It's got nothing to do with MLM. It's got nothing to do with any of that jibber jabber. It's got to do with the new form of TV. The new form of TV, the way for you to get in front of so many people, and it's actually twofold, okay? The way for you to get in front of so many people, to build up your brand, to get people to the stage where they know you, where they get to like you, where they get to know your little idiosyncrasies, your little mannerisms, your little ticks, whatever. Morning, Phil. Yes, good, thank you this morning. So I say I'm good. I'm actually not good because I slept on the couch last night because my back, I've got a crick in my chest and I can't, so I have to prop myself up. And so I was going to watch basketball and I fell asleep and then I woke up and I'm on the couch. So yeah, I'm great, but I'm not. Mustn't grumble. But the biggest opportunity we've got right now is what you're doing right now. You're either watching this live, you're either watching a replay, or the second part of this is you're listening to the podcast. This is the biggest opportunity that you've got. We're recording this live in 2019. But as you go into 2020, 2021, 2022, all the way up to 2030, I'll cover that in a minute, actually, Philip. Up to 2030, wherever you're going beyond all of that, this is going to be your biggest opportunity. So Phil's just asked me, first of all, he's very has lots of empathy. Thank you, Phil. I hope that I'm calling you Phil. My back, sorry to hear that. Any advice on sourcing? And yes, 100%. Morning, Maxine. You see, if you're sourcing, okay, think about this. What's the first thing that people are going to do when people find out you exist? What do you do? So you meet a bloke down the pub, you become friends. What's the first thing you do? You go home and you check them out on Facebook, right? Does that make sense? Like, is that what you do? That's what I do. Am I a stalker? I don't know. Maybe I am. I don't know. But that's what I do. If I go out and find someone and I make a connection and I want to find out more about this person, I'm going to type their name into Google and find out more about them. And what's going to come up? That's the question. So this is about you looking like you're an authority, even though sometimes you might not feel like an authority. So if you're in property sourcing, I guarantee you know 99% more than everybody else in the United Kingdom right now about property sourcing, because not everyone's a property sourcer. And so it's about you building up this level of authority in your, good morning, Maxine, building up the level of authority for who you actually are, so that on the off chance that someone responds and then you go, hey, my name's Dan Latto, I've been investing in Leeds for the last 20 years. I understand you've got this problem with your mortgage company, 3 years behind. What we do is we buy properties and we hold on to it, or we sell them on to other investors who then rent them out to tenants. So your property is going to be looked after, it's going to be used, and it's going to help other people. So how about we book a phone call, a meeting one-on-one, come and find me online. You get to know a little bit more about me, so you get to know who I am. Like, that's really powerful, because before you've even got a meeting, they already know who you are. They already know what you look like. They know what you sound like. They know how bad your jokes are. So imagine walking into a room and not having to say who you are. Imagine walking into a room and people are whispering, that's him. Like, in a good way, not in a bad way. That's him. It was a different in the tonality. That's him there. Get him, lads. But imagine walking into a room and going, that's him. That's the guy that can help. Like, that is very, very, very powerful. I mean, I worked at Dell 15 years ago, okay, and we didn't have Facebook and we didn't have all of that kind of thing. But we had YouTube back in those days, because I remember I remember going to a friend's house who lived in Haworth, and he was my internal at Dell, and he was going, look at this, and it was YouTube. If I could go back 15 years, I would go back and I would start making video then, right? And then I would also, by the way, I would have pulled out the podcast. I would have pulled out the MP3, and I would have sent these in an envelope. Got an envelope here with some notes written on, but I got an envelope. I would send the CD in an envelope, and I would send it to my potential new clients, and it would be me on a video that they can put in the CD-ROM and they could watch me, or the second part would be the audio, so they can take the same CD-ROM, put it in the car stereo, and listening to me talking about Dell-related stuff, right? About backing up, best practice, all sorts of different things. Because instantly then, when I get a meeting, I'm not saying that I would get a meeting, but when I did get a meeting, they already know who you are, what you come to talk about. And so if you're talking about sourcing, you've got two aspects here on property sourcing, okay? The first one is who you're going to sell the deal to, right? That's the first step. Wouldn't you know you've got an investor and they're looking for 2 beds for 70 grand in Leeds? Great. How about I go look for 2 beds for 70 grand in Leeds? Any other criteria? No. Great. Then you can go off and drop your leaflets or do your sourcing according to what they want. Or how do you get this investor? You go live on Facebook. You go live on YouTube. You pull out the podcast and the MP3 and you upload that to YouTube. We do all of this, by the way. And I know you can see the images that go out that we create. We have videos that go out. We have the podcasts that go out, and we release a podcast every single day. I can't tell you how difficult that is sometimes, especially like now when we're at Easter holidays and everyone's in the house, they're upstairs trying to be quiet, which I'm really grateful for. No, they're not watching. We're not very interested. But you building up your authority, this is such an opportunity for you to do it. And if you've not started doing it yet, then you should start. Like, you should have started 5 years ago, like I did, but I didn't start properly 5 years ago. I was toying around with it. If I'd have known what I knew now, I would have gone live for the last 15 years of my life every single day. I would have recorded videos every single day. I would have recorded audio every single day, even if it's just you talking into your mobile phone via a headset. I've got a headset on here, or via a lapel, lavalier mic, anything. You've got to be creating content because you've got to get your message out to as many people as you can. This is the new TV. This is the new radio, right? But unlike the old school TV in the 80s, you can take this TV with you on a device called a mobile phone, and then people can download it and watch it on a train. They can take your audio and we can download that via podcast, and we can listen to that on the phone, on the treadmill, sat on the pot, for goodness sake. I know people are listening to this right now, sat on the pot. If you're listening or watching this sat on the pot, give me a big yeehaw, or a 5-star review would be fine. But I know what people do. People are listening to it live while they're getting the kids dressed and ready for bed. Good morning, Jane. I know that that's what people do. And this is what people do. They come on, they see that you're live, and then they disappear. And then another person comes on, they see that you're live, and then they disappear. And most people at that point will go, oh, I'm just going to give up because I can't seem to keep people on. Forget all of that. This video right now, like I do videos like this and there's nobody watching. But me going live on Facebook right now is not necessarily about the very nice people that are watching right now. It's actually about the people that are going to listen when I'm not live. And in 3 years' time, when someone goes, the biggest opportunity, you'll get this, I wonder what that was. And they go online and it's still relevant. Good morning, Ivan. Billionaire Bootcamp. Welcome, Ivan. Oh, Billionaire Bootcamp in Santorini. How amazing was that? But it's about going live in 3-4 years' time, and the content is still relevant in 3 or 4 years' time. But I've done the work once, and then I'm benefiting from that work for the rest of my life. In 30 years' time, people will be looking back at YouTube, pulling out a video and going, he's not aged. In 30 years' time. All right, maybe that's not quite what we're going to say. Maybe we're going to say, God, he's aged. Right? I said that about last week's video, from then to now. Oh, he's aged. We've had some stuff going on since last week, so no wonder we've aged. Kids stuff, obviously. What else could it be? So this is the opportunity. But I see people. I see you on your Facebook feeds. You ain't going live. I check out your YouTube feeds. You ain't going live. I look on iTunes podcast to see who's on. You ain't live. You ain't recording podcasts. How do you expect to close more business, like a significant amount of more business, unless you're putting yourself out in front of people to display who you are, your personality? And you might go, yeah, but I might put 50% of the people off. And I love this line. Grant Cardone said it. He said, if I can piss off 50% of the people and get 50% of the other people to love me, I could do anything. Heck, I could be president one day. And look what's happened. That's exactly what's happened with Mr. Trump. He polarizes his audience entirely. Some people hate him like you wouldn't believe. And other people love him like he's the next Messiah, which is just very odd if you ask me. Let me just grab a quick drink. So, and I get why it's difficult. I get, well, it's just little old me and I'm not quite sure. But actually, if you were to see the setup, all I've got here is a microphone plugged in via USB. This microphone, it's all right, but it's not even great. I should really have a lavalier, but it's laptop and the plug-in. It's just, anyway, so we use a USB mic. I've got a light source, which is a really harsh light. It's LED and it's on full right now. And really, I'm toying with getting a studio in the basement, but then we've got summer to come. It gets very hot in the summer, like 35 degrees hot. Believe me, I know how hot it is because I've worked out for 20 minutes down there on a treadmill. It's very, very hot. But so we're still working on what we're going to do. More than likely, we're going to move outside because then we've got lots of natural light. So basically, we've got a microphone, we've got a light, and we've got a camera, which is not my laptop camera. We've got this camera, which is a Logitech 920. The whole setup probably costs £200 for camera, mic, and the light. You don't even need that. You've got your mobile phone, and you've got, like, let's pull this out. You've got one of these headsets. You know the headset that you just use to speak on? Like, you can use that even. If that's what you want to do, you could just use that. But literally, that's it. I've done one video where I'm walking the dog and the dog's having a wee in the background, and I closed a client off that video. We made $5,500. Let's have a look. Phil's just saying, my main problem is starting. Got it, yeah? Okay. Currently 19. Dude, honestly, let me just stop you right there 1 second. 19, if I could go back to being 19, you're totally on the right path. And once you get this skill down, you will never work a day in your life because it turns into not being work. It turns into having lots of fun. Let's see what it says. And looking to get into it. It's just hard to start up. Do you have any training camps for property sourcing? I tell you what you're best doing is you need like, and also I'm guessing at 19 you've not got a huge amount of money. I don't know, Philip, so I don't know. But I'm guessing you've not got like 20 grand to drop on this, okay? So what you're best off doing, and I'll put it in the settings in the chat box afterwards, fill in one of the strategy forms. Let's get on a phone call because there is a solution that's like ongoing coaching that will probably be suitable for it. And it's not me because I've really pulled back out of doing some coaching these days. But I've got someone who's really, really good, who's one of my old clients who does property sourcing coaching. They can really help you get going and be compliant. And they've had tremendous success in leaflet dropping and all of that kind of thing as well. That all said, right, what you could do, you could read a little bit in a book and then you go live talking about what you've learned. Okay, and you could say, so let me give you an example. Hey guys, my name's Philip, I'm 19 and I'm a property sourcer, probably one of the youngest property sourcers in the UK right now. But if you've got a property that you're looking to sell, we've got a network of people that are ready to buy that deal. So contact me now. Do you see what I mean? Like that's very short, very sharp. Now all your friends on Facebook will go, what the fuck is Philip doing? I didn't know he was doing that. He's a property sourcer. I didn't know he was doing that. Like this is like step one. Does your mum and dad know you do it? Do your brothers and sisters know you do it? Do your friends know you do it? Do your friends at uni or college or school or whatever, do they know that you're doing it? And people go, oh no, I've got to keep this quiet. I don't want anyone to know that this is what I'm doing. It's like it's crazy. Let everybody know what you do. Everybody knows what I do. Actually, that's maybe not true. I don't know what I do myself sometimes. I run a social media company and we run a podcast. Hey, Maxine, it's having the confidence and getting on a roll to putting out content. I 100% agree. And the biggest difference for me in actually building that confidence was to go live. And then you go live once and then you're like, oh my gosh, I've done it. Whoa. And then you feel dreadful because then you analyze everything that you do. Don't review it. I just put stuff out. Like I have no idea what the words are going to come out of my mouth next. Cockwomble. There you go. I had no idea that was coming out. And it's like, it doesn't matter. After 259 podcasts, you come out with stuff like this. It really doesn't matter. But until you get to that point, you ain't doing anything. So at some point, you're going to have to go live. Why not? You might as well do it now. Why wait 5 years? Because then you're going to look back like I do now at YouTube and go, damn, I should have done that 15 years ago, but I didn't feel confident. It doesn't matter. Your confidence comes from doing it, right? So actually, let me tell you about confidence. Confidence comes from two places. The first place confidence comes from is knowledge. You've got to know what you're talking about. So reading a bit in a book about, let's just say about, we did a podcast called The Big Red Button is a myth, I think it was called. And it was about on websites how everybody's supposed to have a big red button so that people click it because red's the best colour for people to click. And it's just a myth, is that the colour of the button, if you've got a red website, the colour of the button could be black or green or blue, it makes no difference, right? And I read that in a book somewhere and I made a whole podcast about that. It wasn't a book, it was just a throwaway comment that someone made. I was like, actually, that's true. And I did some research and then we followed it up with some facts and figures and then we made a podcast out of it. So where does knowledge come from? It doesn't come from an external source and it does come from an external source. This is the point. It comes from a book or a podcast. And then you put all these things together and then you have your own take on a podcast or going Facebook Live. So this one is about the biggest opportunity you'll get this year. This came from, because I'm looking, what can I do as a podcast this morning? Because I'm running low on content. And I'm like, what can we do? And I saw someone talking about the biggest opportunity and people trying to work out what it was. And I was like, I know exactly what it is. I don't even know what their answer was. And it was irrelevant. Because the answer for me was this. This is the biggest opportunity you've got in 2019 is going live. I get that you don't know what you're talking about yet, but you can pick up on one thing and you go live. The key, talk about what you're looking for is a great start. So, hey, everybody, my name's Maxine. I'm based in, I don't know where you are, London. And I'm a property sourcer. If you've got a deal right now that you need to get rid of, or if you're struggling to pay the mortgage and you need to speak to someone to see what they can do to help you, hit me up, put a message down below and we'll a private message. Awesome. That's it. Bang. Podcast number 1, very short and sweet, 2 minutes long. Great. Actually, a podcast number 1 needs to be more of an introductory, but a Facebook Live, that would work perfectly. At the moment, we're just looking into going live on Facebook and on YouTube at the same time, and that would just generate more SEO for a start, and it will generate more eyeballs looking at who we are, so we build up the KLT factor. The KLT factor is know, like, and trust. Know, like, and trust. We've got to know you, got to like you, and we've got to trust you. And if people know you but don't like you, awesome, you've qualified those people out. They'll never get on the phone and waste your time. Brilliant. That's exactly what you want. And that's exactly what we do. Let's have a look. Max is saying, I just started myself out there with an event, my 4 steps to financial freedom. I want to start branding myself. Perfect. And this, again, best opportunity you're going to get to brand yourself is to be yourself, right? Oh, that sounds so cool. Somebody write that down. The best way to brand yourself is to be yourself. I should write that down and use that. That's going to be tomorrow's podcast. Because somebody just put that in the comment section because I'm going to forget. The best way to brand yourself is to be yourself, because that's what branding is. Branding is about owning a place in your head about the thing that you're thinking about. I remember getting a phone call from Leeds United from their billboard advertising thing. The billboards that used to go around the football pitch. I think they're all electronic now. But the billboards that went around the pitch, and they would go, oh, well, you get seen in front of 50,000 people every Saturday. I'm like, and? Well, it's branding. And what does branding mean? Well, branding is seeing your logo in front of everybody. I'm like, that's so not branding. It is totally not branding. Spending 100 quid on Easter eggs and taking them to the homeless shelter, that's branding. That shows branding right there, because that is that's such a nice thing to do in some people's heads. And in other people's heads, they will go, that right there is that's just using homeless people for personal gain. Yeah, and? What do you think branding is? It's just owning a space. I mean, that's not necessarily branding, but it's about owning a space. Some people will hate you no matter what you do. Some people will love you no matter what you do. Trump. We talk about branding. How the heck did Trump get to be president without branding? And he had one of the best mechanisms for doing it. He had actual TV program called The Apprentice. And people think he's a great entrepreneur. Some people do. And other people that know better, no, he's not. But branding starts from getting out there, people know that you exist, and having a space in that person's mind. So someone listening to this, we're coming up to 20 minutes. If someone downloads this podcast and starts listening to this podcast, they're now listening to me. I've got their attention for 20 minutes, right? Now, imagine going to a networking event and speaking with someone for 20 minutes. That's actually quite difficult to do because there's lots of distraction. And I'm not saying there's no distraction when people listen to podcasts, but if you're going to a networking event and there's 100 people, you ain't speaking to 100 people at 20 minutes each. It's just not happening. That'd have to be a weekend event at least. However, if you did a podcast and people download it, 100 people download it, now you've just spoken to 100 people for 20 minutes. Like, I look at our minutes, and I think we're up to like 1.3 million minutes on YouTube. Right, we're coming up to 440,000 downloads or views, I should say, on YouTube. That's an awful lot of people listening to me, little old me with his 5 GCSEs from Leeds, who started out with no money in the bank, who started out buying a shitty little 3-bed terrace house up in Hyde Park, and went on this journey. And then looking at it, we're like, goodness me, when we look back. So it's about branding yourself, and it's about going live on Facebook, pulling out the MP3, posting it out there. Some people are going to listen to it, some people won't. Eventually, and by the way, I'm just, if I look at our stats, this month is by far the best month we've ever had. It's only the 18th of April. Last month was the best month before that, and the month before that was the best month ever as well. So every month we're getting more and more people downloading what we do. Obviously, there are more podcasts to download, and so that helps. But like literally, we surpassed last month's on, I think, the 15th. And so we're on track to double our best ever month. And all that comes from me recording these live, right? And this bit right here where we're interacting, and I appreciate the interaction, this isn't even where people come and this isn't where we make money. We actually make money from the podcast because people then sign up to whatever it is that we happen to be pushing at that time. And I don't push one thing because I get bored really easy. And people go, jack of all trades, master of none. Well, I disagree with that entirely, in fact. I get bored just doing the one thing, right? So what are you going to do now to brand yourself? If this is the best opportunity you're going to get in this year, and when you first do it, you're going to have 0 listeners, 0 viewers, no one's going to watch your stuff. And I guarantee it'll be like that for the first couple of weeks. And then you might get 1 or 2, and then you get 3 or 4, and then you get 5 and 6. And then the next month you get 10, and the next month you get 20. And that's how it works. It's taken 259 podcasts to get the podcast, audio podcast to the stage where actually we're on the best month ever. And it takes 259 podcasts, and it takes going live every single day. And every single day you go live, you get better at going live. And I was thinking about a couple of days ago about some TV work that we've been asked to do, and we're going to turn down because it's BBC, and I can't stand the BBC, quite frankly. And they will just twist everything that you say unless it's live. But I was thinking about being live on an outlet like the BBC, and could I cope with that? I've done 259 of these. Probably could, quite frankly, from 0 to hero on the BBC, no problem. But I would only do it live, so they can't twist. And even then, the twist what you do, I'll cut you off, don't they? We've seen that. One of those that believes that BBC should be banned, TV license finished, and it should be broken up because it's state TV, basically. Anyway, how do we get onto that? So get going, get recording, put your stuff out there. Like, you don't even have to go, don't even go live to begin with. Just go and record on your mobile phone. Just do that and then delete it. And then do it again and then delete it. And if after like 5 or 6, you're going to go, screw this, I'm fed up deleting these. Let's just do it. And let's put it out there and upload it and see what happens. But you've got to remain consistent. Nobody starts learning to ride a bike by jumping on a bike and just woof, they're off. You're going to fall off. You have to fall off. You're going to get your bruised knees for falling off, learning how to ride a bike. And it's exactly the same going live. But this is 100% your best way. You literally own your own TV show, right? And my ratings are going up. And I ain't even consistent at being on live at 8 a.m. We all slept in. I slept on the couch because I've got a really, really bad back. So I'm propped up, sleeping on the couch. But even at that, we're still getting stuff coming through, and then people are downloading the podcast as well. So look, we've gone far longer than I intended to today, but I appreciate all you guys joining in. It makes these much more fun to do. And I love answering your questions. If you've got any more questions, please come and ask. Other than that, we'll catch up with you in tomorrow's podcast. Hope you have a wicked Thursday, and we'll speak to you tomorrow. Take care, guys. Hey, it's Dan here. Thank you for listening. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Please click like or subscribe to the entire podcast.